Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another stream. Today we're at East Midlands and we're going for a lovely flight over to Innsbruck in the daylight for a change. Hello Gareth, welcome to the stream, mate. As you can see, I thought I'd start in the terminal building itself, just with the fact that the scenery is pretty good here, to be fair. For those of you that have been to East Midlands Airport, it is pretty much bang on the exact same as the airport itself. So, let's walk out to our aircraft. Apologies, I'm not very good with the walk inside of this at the moment. But we'll walk out. So we're flying in the 321 this morning. Or this afternoon, should I say. I think it's the first video we've done on this channel related to the 321, to be fair. So we'll just have a general walk around the aircraft first and then we'll jump in. As you see, we're in the Jet2 Holidays livery. This is a add-on livery that was from the flight sim market, free of charge. Fenix do have their own one, but it's just the plain white. It's one of their temporary 321s that they had, rather than the ones that are all ready and raring to go. So let's jump in the cockpit, let's get set up, and then we'll get on our way. We are logged on to VATSIM. Oh, it's a bit jumpy. So let's jump in the cockpit, be a little bit more stable. It's the only thing I find with the walk around mode, sometimes it is a little bit on the jumpy side. Might help if I do connect to the VATSIM network as well. I think it's disconnected me for some reason, probably because I've been inactive for a little while. So I'm not too sure about ATC online. There was some on earlier on. At the moment, there does not appear to be any at all. Can you hear me okay, Gareth? Is everything as it should be? Wonderful. So then, let's jump over to our flight plan. Just give you a quick brief look at the flight plan and then we'll go from there. So for some reason it seems to think that there's loads of aircraft here at East Midlands. Turns out there isn't when I actually look. Sometimes because this is the beta part of Navigraph, it is a little bit on the slow side. Anyway, let's show you our routing. So we're departing from East Midlands, so expecting runway 27 as you can see there. A SAPCO 1 November departure. And we're expecting a runway 08 at Innsbruck. As you can see, we're tracking down right down the bottom of the UK initially. There is some airspace online. Looks like London controls online. And then across Dover. And we sort of track into France, Belgium, and all the way over west side of Germany. And then into Austria, into the Austrian Alps. Like I said, we are expecting a runway 08, so that is the quite scenic approach down the valley. It can be quite challenging at times, and I think it's going to be especially more challenging with the fact that we're going to be in the 321. I've already had a quick look at stopping distances and they look a little bit on the tight side, so there's a good chance we could end up having to go around if things aren't quite right, but let's hope not. So let's jump back into the sim, let's get the aircraft set up and passengers on board. It's a bit laggy in places for some reason. So then, batteries are all on, so we'll start on the left hand side there. Crew oxygen supply, ground control. We shall pop on, turn off the seatbelt signs, so it will pop on the no smoking and the emergency exit lights. We'll pop the nav lights onto stage 1, just so we've got some wing lights on and fuel pumps can also come on. What we'll do in the meantime, whilst that's all loading up, we will just quickly start our loading procedure. So we nip into the FMC, mass and balance, load aircraft, and then over to GSX boarding and refueling.
Boarding requested.
Hello, welcome on board
Passengers bus is coming.
Engine 1 fire tests.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
So the pushback team will get the tug connected. That's just what I've got set on GSX, so it's all ready and raring to go. So once they're getting there, have you managed to have a look at your FCU yet, Gareth, or is it just in the box at the minute still?
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
So QNH is 1021, and we'll jump down to the FMC and start setting that up. So first we'll move to the unit page, request the unit from SimBrief. Those of you that aren't able to file a flight plan on VATSIM and not sure how SimBrief works, there's a video that's been uploaded an hour or so ago relating to that. So our flight number today is LS7874 even. Let's have a quick look at our cost index for today. So we've got a cost index of 6, so we're very efficient today. And we have a cruise level of flight level 370. And a flex temp of 58, not 56. We'll move across the IRSs, we'll just align them on the reference point. And we'll move to the next page and put our block fueling, which is 8.1 tons. And a zero fuel weight of 66.3. And we'll just get the CG off the tablet on the left here. So departure performance, runway 27 dry. So we're going to do a packed off departure today. Just give us a little bit better thrust on the engines. And we'll just refresh both of them and we will calculate it. So 26.6 is our CG. Which should give us a takeoff weight hopefully of 74.1 and a landing weight of 69.9. So pretty much near as damn it. Trip fuel 4.3 tons, which is what we've got with 0.2 reserve. There we go. So performance. Just going to quickly have a look. So 147, 150 and 150. So I'll pop them in. This level 6,000, flex temp is 57. So we're actually going to be doing a flaps 2 departure by the look of things. Just see what the trim setting is, and up 0.5. Up 2, then up 0.5. It's not too loud, is it, Gareth, the Jet2 boarding music? Can't beat a bit of Jess Glynn. If you've ever flown with Jet2, that's all you hear for about 3 hours. In fairness, I do really love flying with Jet2. They remind me a bit of Thomas Cook, if I'm honest. So then, we're departing out of East Midlands. We're going to start our departure runway 27. And it's a SAPCO 1 November departure. So SAPCO 1 November. Insert that, and then into our destination. We will put our arrival in. So we're expecting runway 08, which will be an RNAV, I believe. Let me just double check that on here. Oh, a quick look at the chart a minute.
Passengers boarding starting.
RNAV Yankee runway 08. And it's by the Maid 1 Bravo. So we'll just have that. Maydeb 1 Bravo. So insert that. And we have the transition as well, as expected. So I'm just going to have a quick look on here at, just move over to plan. I'm just going to scroll through it, make sure there's no discontinuities. Make sure all the waypoints are there as they should be. especially as we... There is a discontinuity there, which we do expect. So we'll just clear that on the MCDU, and then... There we go. Wonderful. And we started approach in.
Please make sure the aisle and exit areas are nice and clear. If you need a hand, our cabins will have your help.
Wonderful. It's going to enable constraints as well. Flight directors are on. Got 3 more minutes until the IRSs are aligned. Like I say, we don't have any ATC that I can see at the moment. We will go into London control at some point, which is 12. So let's just move it to 122.8. Then we'll tune the next frequency, so it's 129430. That's all tuned there. Sorry, Gareth, I was a bit distracted. I'm just catching up with your replies.
Refueling truck is on its way.
So basically, with an RNAV, there's different requirements. So obviously, an ILS, you can go to a full auto
Please
land.
don't load aircraft until the Fenix truck arrives
With
and
the
passes
RNAV
through.
approach, I believe, don't hold me to this. So it's a radio navigation precision approach. So it still uses waypoints. So I'll show you briefly on the charts. So it still shows. So this is an RNAV approach. So normally, where you'd have an ILS frequency that came all the way out over here, because of the terrain that there is at Innsbruck, there is an ILS on the other runway because there's a bit more room for margin there. But because you're sort of flying in the valley, it uses radio waypoints. It has, as you see, there's antennas all over the shop, and there's 9,000 foot mountains either side. So it's quite a case. If I'm honest, it's pretty much a visual approach. The time when you get to this point here, you normally flying completely visually, to be quite honest with you. And then if you do have to go around, then you go all the way up to the Rattenberg NDB. But there we go. So I'll just hide that again. Sounds like everyone's on board from what I just heard there. Yeah, everyone is now on board. So then we'll just pop in predictive wind shear system and the weather radar. Obviously, as I'm sure you've all seen, the new update about the Fenix, that we will be having the weather radar coming very soon. We're just waiting for fuel as well. The fuel's just going on now. So it flies very similar to the 320 and the A319. Obviously, it's a little bit longer, which is the main difference with this. And taxiing is a little bit more interesting because obviously you've got that extra length to account for. You'll be pleased to know I've got my flaps setting all sorted now. Turns out it wasn't anything I'd done wrong. It was just it needed recalibrating with the Fenix. So I did load up Navigraph on here. I don't usually, but I thought I would add it for a change. So our taxi routing out's going to be by Romeo Alpha all the way up to Alpha 1. It's quite straightforward at East Midlands, to be honest. One taxiway. I'm hoping the sim's going to run alright today. I had an update on it yesterday. Thankfully, I'm not part of the beta. Oh, okay. Yeah, Navigraph can be a bit temperamental at the minute, to be honest. They seem to be doing quite a lot of updates to it, which I think is the main problem with it. Especially when you start adding VATSIM traffic. And see, I quite like having the traffic enabled when it works. Just so I know what's going on. Like, I don't think there's any other aircraft here at the minute, from what I've seen. From what I can see, there's nothing here at the moment. Which is not unusual for East Midlands, to be honest, because it's not very, very rarely controlled by VATSIM. And when it is, it's amazing. But it did apply to be a controller on VATSIM network, but the problem is it takes so long to do anything. I kind of feel like I've lost interest in it in the time I get there. I apologise, we'll get on our way very shortly. We're still quite a way before schedule anyway. 20 past is our scheduled departure time, so hopefully we'll be out pretty quick. Still refueling. Everyone's seated and ready to go. So our initial climb is flight level 90, so we'll just get that plumbed in. And obviously 370 is our cruise. Never seems to take this long to refuel, but for some reason today it seems like it's taken forever, but obviously the flight is a lot longer. Ah, so your passengers. So I believe there's some settings within GSX about passengers. Let me just see if I can find it for you. So if airport walkers, just trying to think now. Have you? I think I know what you haven't done. So what you need to do is go into the installer. So you want the FS Dream Team's installer. It'll basically open up saying it's up to date. There'll be a configuration option next to where the GSX Pro is. If you look down the bottom right hand side, there's block 2 updates. So all you need to do, they will show as ticked. All you need to do is untick them and retick them. And for some reason, passengers then appear. Sometimes it does take a while, like, as you notice straight away, there won't be any passengers, and then all of a sudden they appear. So then, we have fuel on board, and doors are closed. The load sheet is available to view. So seatbelts can come on. Cockpit prep check clear. Gear pins covers removed. Fuel quantity 8.1 tons. Seatbelt on. Adheres nav. QNH is 1021 on all 3. That's the cockpit prep done. Alright, might as well go straight into the before start checklist. So before start, park and brake is set. Takeoff speeds 147, 147, 150. And thrust is 57. Windows closed and a beacon is on. We will just get the APU started up as well. Just make sure that's all starting as it should do. Wonderful. Right. So we'll just announce, I don't think there's any other aircraft there, but we'll just announce our pushback. He's been, oh, hang on, I need to disable something in my settings. Bear with me 2 seconds. I keep forgetting about this. Oh. some reason whenever I change planes, it changes the control settings slightly. East Midlands traffic. It's disconnected me from VATSIM again. What's going on here? It's probably because I've not moved. That's probably why. I think it does disconnect you after so long.
Locking gear.
East Midlands traffic, easy, Chanex 97. Push back stand 15. So used to being an easy jet. Just need to remember that. So then we want to be pushing with our nose. Don't know what direction it thinks we're pushing in, so nose left, tail to the right.
Release parking brakes, please.
Brakes released, so we're clear to push.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Start sequence 2, then 1 starting 2.
Cabin crew now stalls into automatic cross check on a call, please.
So flaps 2 departure, so we'll get that set. So wait for that to get started, and 0.5 up.
Welcome on board, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for flying with Jet2.com and Jet2 Holidays. We're nearly ready for takeoff, but before we go, you'll need to make sure all mobile phones, tablets, and other electronic devices are in flight mode and fully switched off, safely putting your hand luggage. This is because you are not full the takeoff. With the seatbelt signs are switched off, you can use your devices again as long
Engine
as
2
they
start, starting engine 1.
messages, make calls and access the internet are still on board. If your device becomes damaged or hot, choose smoke, is lost or falls into the sea or the aircraft, you need to tell it immediately. Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes is not permitted on board today. For your safety, please follow instructions. Please now make sure that any hand luggage is safely got away and you
We're going to be a few minutes early, which means we should be a few minutes early before departure. Brake set.
Unlocking gear.
Bit of an unrealistic tug for East Midlands, so don't really have the lifting tugs. Yeah, it's quite a cool plane in fairness, Gareth. It's very long though. You don't realise quite how long it is when you're flying it, to be honest. But it is a pretty umphy aircraft.
It's very important, so please remove any headphones and listen carefully.
In the seat pocket in front of you, you'll find a safety instruction card.
It has all sorts of safety information, with details about emergency doors and escape routes, oxygen masks,
Tow
how
truck
to use the life
disconnected.
jackets,
Bypass pin
raise
removed.
position, and more.
After start checklist, anti-ice not required.
Left is clear.
Econ
Right
status
is
is
clear.
checked. Pitch trim 0.5 up.
Please be aware of the safety
Water trim
sign
is
on
0.
and follow all instructions
Flight
given
control
by
check.
us.
Pull up.
This plane has 8 emergency exits.
Pull down.
These are clearly marked, and we're pointing them out to you now.
To help you find your way to the exits
Pull left.
when there's reduced lighting
Pull right.
and visibility,
Neutral.
we have
Rudder.
extra lighting in the
Pull
ceiling
left.
and
Pull
in the
right.
aisle along the
Neutral.
floor. Take a look for your nearest exits now, bearing in mind that they may be behind you.
If you need to leave the plane quickly, take off your shoes or anything that may damage the slide. Leave all luggage behind and go to your nearest.
So to enable the cabin, so one thing you need to do is in the settings on the EFB, you need to ensure that the cabin announcements is activated, and you need to, this PA knob that's here that you can see lit up here, that needs to be up, so you can adjust it up and down. The actual announcements are added in. There is a video already on that, Gareth, so you've probably seen it in fairness. It's fairly straightforward, just have to put a couple of files in the community folder for Phoenix and away you go really.
A life jacket is located under your seat. When told by us,
So then, taxi lights,
by pulling the tab,
and we'll start rolling.
pull it over your head. Put the the strap around your waist.
So we're going to taxi out to the left-hand side here, probably so Quebec, and then Alpha 1. East Midlands traffic, Channel X97, taxi into runway 27, Alpha 1 via Quebec.
If you need to inflate it more, blow into this tube.
There's also a light and a whistle to help you attract attention.
It's time to fasten your seatbelt. Simply press the two metal ends of your seatbelt together until they click. Then pull the strap to adjust so it's tight and low around your waist. To release your seatbelt, just lift the metal cover.
Yeah, there's quite a few settings in fairness, Gareth.
Please make sure your seatbelt is fastened. If a tray table, a cup holder,
So we'll just bring the throttle back already. About 8 knots is the best turning speed for this.
Please check the bags or loose items.
Looks like we've got a bit of a wet cloud about.
Thanks for listening. We'll soon be on our way.
So let's bring the nose round to the right. Just need a bit more thrust to get us around the corner. Rudder pedals, so we run the Thrustmaster. I can't think what they're called. I think it's the cheap ones anyway, it's not the expensive ones that the Thrustmaster do. So we'll just increase our speed a touch. It's one of these aircraft, it's difficult to get rolling, then once it gets rolling, there we go. So taxi checklist, flight control checks, flap setting config 2. Radar predictive wind system is on and auto. Any most of the norm and ECAM MMO will be takeoff no blue in a second. So it takes quite a bit of power to get this rolling, to be fair. Yeah, so with regards to sensitivity, if you go onto Fenix's website, they actually have some settings published for what the best rudder pedal sort of settings are. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, there's definitely a tutorial on there. I like that.
Plane is now secured for departure.
Wonderful. So we'll pop the packs both off. Just need to remember to turn them on after departure, as we'll have a bit of a depressurization there. Yeah, to be fair, there's a few settings. Fenix are really good actually at providing settings profiles. Really, really good for it. The thing with Fenix is all about realism. Everything they do is about being as realistic to the actual plane as possible. And to be fair, this thing does feel reasonably realistic. So obviously we're going to require full length. Try and keep it on that centre line. It's the problem with this, you end up getting sidetracked because you end up looking at the charts or looking at something else, and you can, before you know it, you're on the grass. So we'll just bring the thrust back, so at 24 knots, rolling quite nicely now. And then we'll just break it down a little bit. So line up checklist, take off runway 27 by Alpha 1, config 2, TCAS, TARA, packs 1 and 2 both off. Line up checklist is complete. East Midlands traffic, Channel X9S7, departing runway 27 for immediate departure. Landing lights. Won't be surprised if we get a little bit of rain after we take off. So then, take off. Man flex 57 SOS runway auto thruster is blue. $100. V1. Rotate. Positive rate of climb, go up. Nav. Laps 1. Just climb. Backs 1 and 2 both on. Flap 0. Quite enjoy flying this manually in fairness. So we're just going to disarm the spoilers. Approaching transition level.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stay seated
Standard
until
set.
the seatbelt signs have been turned off, and please buckle up
AP1.
when your seat.
Be careful when opening overhead lockers as things might have moved around. Don't forget, smoking and vaping are not allowed in any part of the plane, including the toilets.
Our cabin crew are currently preparing our famously friendly in-flight service. Take a look at
Nice little bit of cloud here today.
to see what takes your fancy, and we'll see you soon.
Well, I don't know like a pro, Gareth. I'm not quite sure like a pro. Certainly nice seeing some of the The clouds are, they're very fluffy today. I do quite enjoy flying over the UK because all the fields, like, so many different patterns with all the different colours of fields depending on what's in them. So we're nearly at our initial climb altitude. And then we can climb shortly after to our cruiser 370. So 37,000 is in the box and it's in the managed mode. I don't know if you noticed with that flaps 2 departure, as you come out, because of the increased angle of attack, the amount of lift you get very quickly. So you seem to gain height very quickly with the flaps 2 departure. Typically, the 319 and the 320, you wouldn't normally do a flaps 2 departure unless you've got a really short runway length. However, with the 321, it just eliminates the chance of you hitting the tail. And if you notice, as we went to rotate, we only rotated to about 7 degrees, not 10 degrees. That's just to make sure we don't hit that tail. And you'll see the same when we start to land. It will tell me what my maximum flare amount is. It wasn't a bad takeoff, I'll give you that, Gareth. It was quite scenic actually. I do quite like flying out of East Mids because, especially when the weather's like this, we've got lots of low-level cloud. It's quite nice, especially when you're flying manually. It can be quite off-putting actually. So we're about to start our climb again. Once we get to around 10,000, we'll take the seatbelt signs off, and the landing lights will obviously come off as well. So with the max flare amount, you'll notice as we land, so there'll be like a red line when you start landing, and it will tell you basically what the margin is. It will still obviously let you go past that, but it just gives you a bit of a visual representation of the max. I'm sure it's the max you can flare is something like 7 degrees. I'm sure it's about 7 degrees. So passing 10,000, landing lights can come off and our seatbelts can also come off. Shame we don't have any ATC online at the moment. Unfortunately London are now offline, but you never know, sometimes they will come back on, especially over a weekend. It's obviously quite a popular time. Yeah, it's certainly very scenic out there. So we'll have a quick look at our flight time and what it estimates that we're going to use. So if we just go to our flight plan, so it estimates 13:46. So about an hour and 20 minutes before we start. Before we're on the ground. Yes, so it shows red on the PFD. So basically is a you can't see my cursor actually, but above where the flight director crosses, it will have a solid line that goes directly across. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it does. I presume it will do it with the same with an RMP approach. I know it certainly does with the ILS. One thing with this aircraft that you'll notice is when we start to come and slow down, that is quite a big problem. You need more spoilers usage than you would do normally, because it's such a big aircraft and it's still on basically it's still an A320. It's just a long body A320, and obviously the engines. There's not really many differences. The only difference really, so it has a different fuel configuration compared to the 320. So you'll probably notice this just has 2 wing tanks and 1 centre tank, whereas the other aircraft have segregated tanks. So it will have one on a tip wing tank, it will have it, and then it has basically 2 centre tanks, whereas this only has the 1. I think it's so it can transfer fuel more easily if required as well. There isn't certainly a reason behind why they've changed it. So have you got your FCU out the box then, Gareth? And welcome to the other viewer that's joining us as well. Feel free to drop a comment in the chat. If you've got any questions or just want to have a general chit chat, feel free to pop some a comment in there. It's out of the box, just not set up yet. It doesn't take long to set up, in fairness. I actually found it's much easier than the mini cockpit one. So the mini cockpit one you have to use MobiFlight, and that's a bit of a pain to configure, if I'm honest. Whereas this, it's pretty much plug and play. You'll obviously have to install the app, plug it in. Chances are it will have to do a firmware update. Mine did straight away. Just make sure if you've got any other peripherals that are like configurable, so like your joystick and everything will be fine. It's just if you've got any other products, especially wing ones, just make sure they're disconnected before you do the update. It suggests doing that. I've not had any issues when I have done it, but apparently it can cause some issues sometimes. So guys, I'm just going to go and grab a drink quickly, and I'll be back in about 30 seconds or so. Yeah, true, Gareth. Yeah, it's the first one, isn't it? So, yeah, you shouldn't have any major issues with it, to be honest. It's quite straightforward. Sometimes, if it doesn't run properly, I do mention it in the video anyway, but sometimes you just have to click the fix spot option and go from there. But it's fairly straightforward, to be honest. I expected it to be worse. I think it was worse prior to the release of the FCU. Some of the other products that they released, apparently it wasn't very user friendly, the app. It's a little bit more. Some of it still is in Chinese though, so just click on the button and see what happens. So we're getting there, we're nearly at a climb. Very, very nearly. certainly fairly nice flying, to be fair. A little bit cloudy, but not far off our cruise level anyway, to be honest. We're making that left-hand turn in a second. So we're going to be flying towards Biggin Hill, over the London direction. Probably, yeah, we fly pretty much straight over the top of Heathrow by the look of things. So we'll probably get a little bit of a view of London Heathrow. So then we're just making this left turn now, like I say, over towards Biggin. As you can see here, if we have a look down directly below us, we can see London Heathrow. Can't see any aircraft coming out of there at the moment, but I'd imagine there will be some at some point. I don't have any add-on scenery for Heathrow, which is why it looks a bit odd. But yeah, it's definitely Heathrow. And then we'll no doubt fly over central London as well. But I'm pretty sure Heathrow looks a little bit bigger than that in real life. Yeah, for some reason it's not quite mapped at all. Like I say, we should get a bit of a view of London as well. It's always difficult. It's always cloud in places where you want to look. Apologies, it's really loud. Yeah, there's Heathrow just coming into view. Yeah, we'll have to try and do a flight on VATSIM at some point, Gareth. Even if it's just a little hop from like Gatwick to Edinburgh or something, or across to Dublin, for example. I don't have any add-on scenery for Dublin. I keep looking for some though. I've flown there a few times before. Yeah, bang over the top of it. Like I said, unfortunately, all the controls off the line at the moment. Yeah, that's it. See, I don't really know any other people from on Flight Sim. Probably more on Call of Duty than I do on Flight Sim, to be fair. It's not a particularly sociable game, really. Well, it is a sociable game, but it's a passively sociable game. It depends how much you're into it. Like I say, I think it's...
Papa Romeo back check runway 25.
Not sure where he is, but... As I guess it's quite a small airport. If it's having to backtrack, I don't think it's going to be Heathrow somehow. So what we're going to do, we're going to just shorten this route out a little bit, so we've not got the left and right, so we're just going to go direct now to Dover. So just push the direct button straight to Dover and insert it. We're just flying a straight line now. And then we'll be out over the ocean, so we've got Thames on the left side of the look of it. I must admit the 321 doesn't feel as stable as the 319. I don't know if that's just because maybe we're flying in the day. Yeah, we've got the Thames there. Whether we can see anything of the Thames, I don't know. Actually, it looks like London's covered in cloud. just got a view of London City as well down here.
Gatwick traffic, EG47 Golf. We're lining up runway 26 left, Gatwick traffic.
So we're just picking up a little bit of the Gatwick frequency here. There you go, we've got the O2 down here as well. And obviously there's Thames barrier. And there we go.
Gatwick traffic, EG47 Golf, taking off runway 26 left, Gatwick traffic.
Just leave it on 80-mile range. Yeah, I do wish shared cockpit was a function. I must admit, it'd be really nice if it was. I think it would get flight sim a little bit more sociable if that was the case. The problem is a lot of the shared cockpits that come with the games is they never support the add-on aircraft, or they do, but then they require third parties, and then you have to make sure the button's in the right place, and it's a bit of a nightmare. It is possible though, with like third-party add-ons. However, we do need someone to make a really decent one. But to be honest, I think the only way of doing that properly is to get flight sim to do it. I think that would be the most stable approach to doing it, and then have the option for the add-ons to come up with some technology to support it. Obviously I'm no developer, so it may be very difficult. I'm not sure. But so then whilst we're just nearly at our cruise altitude, but like I say, we're just tracking over Dover sort of direction at the moment.
Gatwick traffic, EG47 Golf, airborne, passing 2000.
Gatwick over to our right hand side. And a big sheet of cloud coming by the look of things. Just going to have a quick look at our progress. So the optimal is flight level 360 apparently. However, we won't be able to fly at 360 because we're flying west. We need to be on an odd flight level rather than an even one, so we'll have to stay where we are. So we're just over Detling now. And then we'll be over to Dover, and then we're pretty much straight across the channel. So I'll just quickly show the charts again. So I don't know how well you can see this. I'll just bring that up a little bit. So then our arrival routing is by the Maidbert 1 Bravo, I think it is. One of them anyway. Either way, and so obviously we're initially at 13,000 feet, which it feels really high for this sort of area. However, because of the altitude, if you look around here, look at 3,200, 4,000, 14,500, there's a lot of high mountains. So we'll definitely be using the terrain navigation. The only problem is it will probably be very talkative saying that we're about to hit terrain, even though we probably won't be. So then we need to go on to the RMP Yankee approach, as I briefly mentioned there. So we start at 13,000 feet, and it's quite an abrupt descent really. So at Whiskey India 811, which is here, so at this point here we need to be at 10,600, followed by 812, 9,600, then 8,300, and obviously as you can see, so this is the highest point. That arrow there indicates the highest point of terrain. It's saying that our minimum decision height, so I don't know if you can see that, probably not. Let's show you a bit better. So here's our minimum decision height, that's 7,100. So that is what we'll set our decision height to in a little while. Obviously we track down the valley, and then we make quite an abrupt right hand turn. So between 006 and then 005. Typically that's when we would go into a visual approach for the runway. And it can be quite tricky getting that lined up without getting too close to the sides of the mountains here. happy angle. So typically most airports is 3 degrees is your sort of descent glide path. However, at Innsbruck it's 3.77 degrees that you can't quite see there. Apologies, I'm not sure why you can't see it. Something to do with... There we go. Now you'll be able to see it. So yeah, 3.77 degrees, as it's indicated. If you can see it, there we go. As it's indicated there. And our runway elevation shows at the bottom here 1,907. It's a very visually stunning approach, so I'll give you that, Gareth. It's very, very pretty to watch, to be honest. Yeah, I would say you do need a good internet connection for that, I would imagine. It's bad enough for streaming, to be honest. It's a bit of a nightmare. Saying that, Flight Sim doesn't use that much bandwidth, and obviously the more, like, I have quite a large rolling cache, like 100 gigabyte rolling cache. So once I've been somewhere once, it should in theory be a lot more stable. I'm hoping there's no static aircraft there, because they take up half the parking stands normally. So I've disabled them in the settings, hopefully that has applied itself appropriately. Most importantly, if we have a missed approach, it gives you specific instructions. So climb to 9,500 via the RNAV missed approach track, which is this track here. So initially 077 and 060, all the way to the Rattenberg NDB, sorry. And then you generally enter a holding pattern there. And then you'll probably end up coming back round for another approach. I have known of people from the Rattenberg NDB come back in the valley, generally speaking following down this side and making a very tight turn. However, in the 321 I don't think that would be possible. I think it's going to be too long and need too much movement to establish that. So there we are. That's pretty much going to be our approach. I don't know if there's any other charts I can show you for Innsbruck whilst we're on it. Let's have a look. And if you're not sure about Navigraph, so it'll also show you any departures and arrivals, any ATC that's available, and also what gates are available, which at the minute all gates are free by the look of it. And if we go to chart and reference, so this is what the visual picture is for runway 08 that we're expecting today. As you can read there, so it has a short displaced threshold. So basically it means that it's longer than it needs to be, 1,940 meters. But yeah, generally in the charts it gives you some sort of general information about the airport. It'll generally talk to you as well about the weather, what to expect from the weather. Generally it's quite snowy. Not sure what time this year, there's generally a bit of snow about. Yeah, this is the airport overview, so just generally what the airport looks like. And then we also have radar minimums. So as you notice, this is Innsbruck, and obviously we fly down this valley. So these are the sort of minimums areas if you're flying over the top. And that is about it really. I don't think there's really anything else to add on that. But we'll go through it a little bit more when we get a bit closer to our destination. So we're not a million miles off our halfway point actually. Well, about 100 more miles. And then we'll be at our halfway point. We're now at cruise level, so I'd say it should be quite a nice approach. I'd definitely have a go, Gareth, first. If you do fly to Innsbruck, definitely have a bash first offline. Just so you get a feel for what it's like. I must admit, I've flown it a couple of times recently. Obviously, I did that video a couple of weeks ago with the same sort of approach. We may try and do a bit of a shortcut here, actually. Yeah, bugger it. Let's try and do a bit of a shortcut. There's no ATC online, so we're going to go direct to Dick, and that should hopefully take a few miles off. Save us a little bit more fuel as well. And that ATP marking on there, that is the halfway point, so what we can see here. We've got a slight tailwind as well, so 63 knot tailwind at the moment. Just short of 500 mile an hour. I think the key is, Gareth, to be fair, if sort of flying these Airbuses is not to fight with the stick. Just very small, like a small input does quite a large action, to be honest. And you do feel the difference between each plane. Like with the 321, you set, like even just taxiing it out, I feel that it's heavier. You know what you can get away with turning. Even the thrusts, like you require a lot more thrust to start moving. Whereas obviously, as you've seen previously in the 319, I can literally just roll on my own steam without any power. All depends on how many passengers obviously you have and the load that you have. We may do a return flight later today, I'm not sure at the moment. We might do. Yeah, and that's the thing, Gareth. The more you fight with the stick, the more you end up having to correct it. So you'll often notice that when I take over manual control, initially, I don't really touch the controls. Because generally speaking, the plane will fly of its own course. I don't tend to fight too much with it. Obviously, if I notice it's drifting off course, then I will correct it. But even then, it's especially the lower you get to the ground, the more aggressive the reaction, the harder it is to maintain it. Whereas sometimes if you just make a small input, you'll be able to actually counter it quite easily. I find the hardest thing operating, if I'm honest, is the rudders. You probably notice that sometimes on the runway, trying to keep that centre line on takeoff even is quite difficult, especially if there's a little bit of wind. Like we had a slight headwind as we took off here, but it was slightly to one side, which obviously is going to impact. And the initial spool, because I didn't get the throttles quite aligned properly, we had an odd spool, so you will end up with a bit of a skew. Yeah, I agree. The Boeing, yeah, you're constantly adjusting it with the yoke. It's a bit like a game of Tetris with the Boeing. Just trying to think if there's any other alterations with the 321s. I think they all have LED lights fitted, typically. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. The only thing that I don't know if you noticed on the overhead's slightly different, so the pause buttons are slightly different. Other than that, most things are pretty much exactly the same. I think maybe the cargo heat's slightly different. Other than that, everything's pretty standardised, to be honest. Trying to see if there's any more options on there, really. Like I say, the fuel tanks are slightly different. You have the same amount of buttons, but I think the way it transfers and things is different. Obviously, like I say, there's just 3 tanks. You don't have don't have segregated tanks either side. Yeah, sometimes it is temperamental to keep straight, to be honest. I was just having a look at that traffic. Yeah, it's the same sort of principle there. Try not to fight it too. So I find a lot of the time I correct it and then I over-correct it. It can be quite difficult, to be honest. But yeah, I think maybe in the future I probably will upgrade to like maybe the honeycomb light pedals. I'm not too sure, but I might do. But to be honest, you don't use them much. That's my logic why I've not replaced them so far, is because you don't use them that much. Unless there's like a huge crosswind, which is always a bad day when there's a huge crosswind. I'm getting slightly better at doing crosswind landings. It's all about the last minute perfection really of crabbing it. Sometimes there's the temptation to touch the pedals too early and then you end up all over the shop. I'm quite looking forward to landing here though, if I'm honest. It should be quite nice. So we have the aircraft behind us, so I can't see him now, but it's 1,100 feet below us, but I think it's quite a way behind us. It's at least about 15 miles away, I was to say. So let's see if we can pick him out. Yeah. So we're now into France. Mainland France. We've got another aircraft that's 1,000 feet below us. We might be able to see this one though. I'll try and pick it out, that'll be the hard bit. Still not got a visual on it. Should be flying across our nose any second. So 1,000 feet below you can normally see them quite closely. Saying that, so still 10 miles away, so may get a slight visual on it. To be honest, it's quite difficult to find. Ah, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, CX is not bad. Which rudders have you got then? Is it the same ones I've got, the Thrustmaster ones, or? I must admit, the game doesn't feel quite as stable today as it did yesterday. Just hoping it doesn't crash. That would really disappoint me. It's showing us. I can't see that plane at all. Probably in the clouds somewhere. Oh, we've got the usual fault, flight control calibration issues. Oh yeah, the Thrustmaster, yeah, but the same ones that I've got them. I quite enjoy the I don't mind the Thrustmaster ones, to be fair. I do have them propped up on a slight angle though, just to make it a little bit easier. Yeah, I have seen that too. iTracker got a sale on. Well, you say they've got a sale on. I've seen it cheaper personally before. Around Black Friday, I've seen it cheaper than what they're advertising, to be honest. To be honest, I think if I did get it, I'd probably just get it from eBay. As long as it works, it doesn't really matter how old it is. And as long as it comes with the monitor mounts.
Traffic.
Oh. Traffic. This could be a problem, this could.
Fear of conflict.
Oh, that's something a bit different. Oh, there he is. Flying across to the right hand side of us. Wow, that's certainly took me by surprise. I've not had a traffic conflict resolution for a while. So we'll just go back to just direct. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I must admit, it's been in the sim for quite a while, the traffic. Though Phoenix, they got it mastered to an art, really. I've had to do it a couple of times, not many times at all, though. It doesn't tend to happen mid-flight. It normally tends to happen when you're sort of coming to land near an airport somewhere, especially if it's an uncontrolled airport. That's normally when you see it. Anyway, it's nice to see it all still works. Oh, we're now having to contact ATC. So, just see which ATC it is that's online. Okay, it's Brussels Control 131100. So they're probably going to give me a squawk code because obviously we haven't got one at the moment.
109 Alpha Charlie.
Brussels said hello, Speedbird 15 with you at flight level 330.
Speedbird 15 Brussels Control, hello, identified. Set course direct to Bombay.
Direct Bombay for Speedbird 15, anyone.
Brussels Control, this is Alpine 69 Hotel, flight level 330.
Alpine 69 Hotel, Brussels Control, hello, identified.
Brussels Control, hello, B-line.
Oh, see if I can get my word in edgeway.
B-line 6 Uniform Alpha, Brussels Control, hello, identified. Cleared Woody 8 Alpha arrival, descent flight level 80, squawk 1000.
Squawk 1000 and Woody 8 Alpha, descent to flight level 80, B-line 6 Uniform Alpha.
Brussels Control, hello, Lufthansa 915, flight level 380.
Qatari 7 Kilo, Brussels Control, hello, identified. Break, Lufthansa 915, Brussels Control, hello, identified.
Brussels Control, good day, Wizz Air 106 Foxtrot, passing level 360.
Wizz Air 106 Foxtrot, Brussels Control, hello, identified.
It's quite a busy sector, Brussels is.
7160.
Very, very busy.
Squawk 7160,
See if I can get a word in a
106
minute.
Foxtrot.
Brussels, hello, Channel 97 is with you, flight level 370.
380.
Shadex 907 Brussels Control, identified, squawk 1000.
Squawking 1000, Channel 97.
Lufthansa 411 Brussels Control, hello, identified. Set course direct to Boulogne.
Direct Boulogne, Lufthansa 411.
Brussels Control, good afternoon, Skyways 250, please with you flight level 380, inbound Batty.
Skyways 2503 Brussels Control, identified, hello, proceed
Wow,
direct
we're gonna
to
be quite a busy
Info
bit of
and
the sector,
squawk
this is.
7116.
Squawk 7116 and direct import Skyways 2503.
Funny you say that, Gareth. I thought exactly the same thing. They're normally unique
Speedbird
codes.
105 Brussels Control,
Unless,
hello, identified.
I don't know.
Set course direct to
Bit
Vidbom.
strange. Unless he's just using that same squawk code for flying overhead, because he knows I'm not going to have any other ATC.
Uniform Alpha,
I don't know.
expect ILS runway 25 right.
Expect ILS runway 25 right, B-line 6 Uniform Alpha.
Well, we can relax a little bit now after that traffic advisory.
Eurowings 4 Golf Lima, hello, you're just about to leave my airspace, so monitor advisory 122.8, goodbye.
128, Eurowings 4 Golf, bye.
Speedbird 9, correction, Speedbird 398 on frequency. To Jet2 Delta Hotel, Brussels Control.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if it's because it's not my airspace. It's quite possible.
With Air Malta 9 Alpha Charlie, descend to flight level 340. 340 with Air Malta 9 Alpha Charlie. Speedbird 6 Alpha Zulu, Brussels Control. Alpine 69 Hotel, set course direct to Boulogne.
Direct Boulogne 6, Alpine 69 Hotel.
So it's always handy to have your Navigraph open when you're on VATSIM. That's one thing I would say. Oh, I've got to see another plane then. It's just handy because if they give you a direct to a certain waypoint that's not on your flight plan, you can have a quick look around you to see if it's there. But generally they will spell it out as well if you're not sure, or they'll put it in text. Yeah, so what will happen is when we come out of Brussels airspace, they'll just tell us to go back to advisory frequency, which is Unicom. So it used to be called Unicom, but recently, over the last couple of months, they've started calling it advisory, which I believe is because they are looking at going to an AI option. We've got another aircraft here, 20 miles, about the same flight level.
Alpine Hotel, Bravo,
can you
Lima, Alpha Mike direct.
Spell it once, please, for Alpine 69 Hotel.
Alpine 69 Hotel, direct to Bravo, Uniform, Lima, Alpha Mike.
But then, did you see the aircraft coming past us after the C-class as well? It's amazing how quick that they're flying. Yeah, he's descended. It's 1,700 feet below me, so he's obviously descended to his destination.
Shanix 97, report Mach number.
Mach 0.77, Shanix 97.
Shanix 97, for a short while increase to Mach decimal 79 or greater. There's traffic right behind you, not in contact with me at the same level.
Increase to Mach 0.79 is Shanix 97.
Beeline 6 Uniform Alpha, contact.
So what we're doing, we're changing the Mach option here,
118.255,
and then
goodbye.
Pop in the
118.255, Beeline 6 Uniform Alpha, goodbye.
Got plenty of fuel to burn anyway, so it'll be fine. It's very rare they ask you to do that.
69 Hotel, when ready, descend to flight level 290 to reach at Boulab.
Oh yeah, I can see the other aircraft actually behind us.
Alpine 69 Hotel.
Weather 106 Foxtrot, proceed direct to Boulab.
Direct to Boolean, Weather 106 Foxtrot.
Don't know where direct Bullam is, but it certainly seems very popular.
Turkish 5454.
Turkish 5454,
we've got about another...
control, hello, identified, climb to flight level 290.
Once we get to Delta into Kilo, we've not got much longer before we're out of their airspace anyway, so...
Flight level 290, Turkish 555.
Weather Malta 9 Alpha Charlie, descend to flight level 320.
I must admit, I've not really heard that much before, Gareth, either.
320, Weather Malta 9 Alpha Charlie.
Yes, I've not really heard it before. I have heard it, but not very frequently.
Turkish 5454, roger, climb to flight level 370, route to Kilo Oscar
Either way, I'll get us there a little bit quicker.
To Kilo Romeo Hotel.
13:44 is our new arrival time.
Climb to flight level 370, route to Kilo Oscar Kilo and Kilo Romeo Hotel, Turkish 5454.
And we'll still have 4 tons of fuel once we land. Yeah, it's not very often they get you to increase speed, especially to a Mach number. I don't know what changes it.
Qatari 75, correction, Qatari 7 Kilo, descend to flight level 350.
A little bit of a crosswind there, I don't know if you saw that wobble.
Russell Control, get the afternoon Turkish 30 November inbound to Mukula.
It's only a lot more interesting when there is ATC online, even though we're not talking to you directly, it just allows you to keep your ears pricked up.
And to flight level 220.
You can tell I'm used to an EasyJet call sign now.
Squawk 1000, descent flight level 220, Turkish 30 November.
Russell Control, very good afternoon, flight at 305, flight level 400, inbound Rusi.
Flight 305, Brussels Control, hello, identified, proceed direct to Ibiza.
Direct Ibiza, flight at 305.
Ryanair 10 Tango Bravo, Brussels Control, hello, identified squawk 7164, proceed direct to Kosovo.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So 7164 direct.
So the total miles left, so when you go to the MCDU, at the bottom obviously it says destination, so all these figures
Alpha 9 Alpha
are
Charlie,
based
when
on
ready, descend to flight
our
level
destination
200
times.
to reach at Helen.
So these
When
are the
ready,
destination,
down
the
to 200
distance
by
between the
Helen,
waypoints,
Wizard Mountain 9 Alpha Charlie.
and that is the total distance remaining.
915 monitor advisory 122.8, bye-bye.
1228, thank you, bye-bye.
Alpine 69
And also
Hotel,
the
for
UTC,
US
so that is
monitor
the
advisory
UTC
122
time, the
decimal 8,
universal
bye-bye.
time of when we will
Advance
arrive.
we want to decimate, wish a nice weekend.
The only problem is that distance won't change. If you start flying manually, the distance won't change. It's only if you stay on a managed mode.
Aeroflot 1028 Brussels Control, hello, identified, climb to flight level 190.
So we shall start going into the Alps very shortly. It's not going to be much longer before we start in the Alps.
To Brussels Control, hello, identified, proceed direct to Brussels, Bravo, Uniform Bravo.
Brussels, Bravo, Uniform Bravo,
Qatari 7 kilo, continue descent to flight level 250 to reach at Nifnu.
Continue descent to 250, kilo.
It's the first time I've used this Jet2 livery as well. Normally I use the plain Jet2 livery, not the Jet2 Holidays one, so it makes a change. I quite like flying around like Zurich and Geneva and Innsbruck. It's all very nice. And to be fair, I even enjoyed flying to... Where did we fly to the other day? We went to somewhere in Germany. I can't even think where it was now. Frankfurt. That's where we went to the other day. Yeah, so the pure white livery is what comes with the Fenix itself. This is obviously the Jet2 Holidays one. But the other one's literally just a white plane with Jet2.com written on the top. That's the main difference between these. Obviously, typically Jet2 operate Boeing aircraft rather than Airbuses. Though they have just started buying some 321s. Well, 321 Neos really. But yeah, typically, obviously, they mostly fly with Boeing, which is the silver ones that you see. Certainly nice to have some company while we're flying anyway.
Aeroflot 1028, ready check.
Aeroflot 1028, I reach you 5.
Ready 52, thank you.
So, not much longer.
Aeroflot 1028, proceed
And
now
we're going to be
direct
going
to
out.
Oculus, climb to flight level 310.
So about another... So once we get past this next waypoint,
Direct Oculus
we're out
and
of Brussels airspace.
310, Aeroflot 1028.
Which is a shame, but at least it's something to...
Brussels, hello, this is Lufthansa Cargo 277 with you out of flight level 220 for flight level 320. Boeing 777 inbound Rudolph.
Lufthansa Cargo 277 Brussels Control identified, hello, proceed direct to Dana.
Direct Dana 277.
Chanex 9er 7, good separation, no traffic behind if you wish to reduce. Monitor Unicom 122.8, bye-bye.
Heat separation between the aircraft and Unicom 1228, Chanex 975. Ah, it's a shame we're back over to Unicom or advisory or whatever they call it these days. To be fair, that other aircraft is quite close to me. It's within about 10 miles of me. To be fair, you can actually see it on the radar here. Look. So it's hard to gauge how far back it is, but there's certainly someone dead behind me. So we'll just stay at the current speed. Go from there. So let's start sorting out our landing performance because we're getting that way on. first thing what we'll try and do is see if we can request an ATIS. So it's saying that the flight path's too steep ahead. That'll be to do with our descent, but we'll deal with that a little bit closer to the time. So we'll go to the MCDU menu, ATSU, AOC menu, and then to ATIS, and Lima Oscar Whiskey India, arrival, send. We'll go to receive messages and we'll just see if we have any ATIS information. So there's no ATIS information, but that's fine, we can still work around that. We'll go and get some weather information instead. So obviously the ATIS is a little bit more accurate, gives you more specific things about the airport, whereas this will literally just give me the wind and the weather. So just wait for the weather, and there's the weather. So at 12:50 on the 29th, automatic, so 070 at 6 knots the wind is. So there is rain in the vicinity, because that's what that RA dignifies. There's a few clouds at 1,500 feet, broken at 2,200 feet. Temperature is 8 degrees Celsius, dew point 0.05 and QNH is 1013, with no significant change. So I'm going to print that, because that comes to my little printer that I've got, and then we'll go from there. So first things first, what we'll do is we will come over to the tablet and we'll sort our arrival performance out. So Livery, runway 08. As far as we know, it's dry there. We don't know if it is actually raining there. It's still quite warm. So we're going to refresh the METAR and then apply it, which will give us the wind information. Oh, of course it will. I can send you the link, that's not a problem. It's just a cheap one from eBay, to be honest. It took a little bit of finding. It's designed for what's used in restaurants, as like a portable printer. But as long as you get a similar one that has a Windows driver, I'll be honest, it's a little bit fiddly to get it set up, but do you know what, I bought it because it cost like £10 off eBay, and I thought I'll give it a try, and it worked a treat, and I thought, well, I'm going to have to stick with it. Ended up buying a load of rolls just from Amazon. They weren't expensive at all. Just a 58mm one I've got, so just quite small. Right, so I need to just go onto our operational flight plan just to get a landing weight. So 69.8 is our landing weight. No, not 96. 69.8. And like I say, we're going to exceed the runway length according to this. Even with max thrust, it reduces a little bit. Medium uses 1,500 meters, and max manual uses 1,200. So what I'm going to do is going to set up for a medium, but chances are we'll probably override it with manual brakes and flaps forward, line and manual landing. So we'll set medium. That's all ready to go, and then we'll go down to the MCDU and get that all programmed in. So then let's go down to MCDU and I will type this in from what I can see. So we go down to performance, into the approach page. So the local QNH is 1013, which is obviously the same as the standard. The temperature is 8 degrees Celsius. The wind is 070 at 6. Put it in the right box, that is 000 at 6 knots. Transition level 10,500, we'll leave that as it is. And then the barrier, I remember I went back to the chart, so we'll go to the chart here, and the decision height, so the MDH is 7,100 or 5,100 in radio altimeter. So I tend to use Barrow, so 7,100. So we'll type 7,100. Interesting. I'm intrigued to know now why that won't accept that. I'm just going to double check that is the right chart for the airport. Make sure it's not me. Ah, here we go, sorry, 2,900. I looked at the wrong chart. There we go, that's all set there and ready to go. So the chart that I was looking at was if it's a visual approach. That would be our minimum, so because we're using an RMP approach. So it's stuttering a little bit, I must admit. I don't know why it's stuttering quite so much as it is. It doesn't normally stutter this much, but could also be because I've got it in full screen mode, not window mode. But we'll give that a go. See if that's any better. Yeah, of course I can send the link. That's not a problem. There's plenty of them on the eBay, to be fair. So the one that I've got is called a Netum, so N-E-T-U-M. Definitely from China, 100%. And the way to sort of set it up, I'll show you whilst we're sort of mid-flight, to be fair. The way you set it up within the Fenix is you go into the settings, and then as you can see I've enabled it a Fenix printer. These numbers need fiddling with a little bit to get the font right and to get it merging right, and then you want these two options ticked for ACARS. And that's pretty much it. So we've got one aircraft 1,000 feet. We've also got another aircraft coming behind us. I don't know where this aircraft behind us is going, that's the problem. Oh, he's not going the same place. Shall I see if we can pick up this plane anywhere? Can't see it anywhere. Oh, it's already gone past us, to be fair. It's quite a way over there. Which is probably why we're not seeing it. So it's saying about side stick again, we'll just clear that. Got 180 miles to run now. We're going to be starting our descent race shortly. In about 55 miles. So I'm not sure why it's jumping about quite a bit. Could be a mixture of the internet connection as well, streaming. I see I'm staying on the max speed for now, just because I don't know if you can see the aircraft that's behind me. He's literally at the same flight level, and to be honest he's still catching me up even with that, so I thought I'd just stay on the same sort of level. We've also got another aircraft towards us by the look of it. It's at the same flight level, and it looks like he's going to the same waypoint, so that could be potentially an issue for us. That is the only problem when you're not in controlled airspace, is you're more likely to get traffic advisories, to be fair. So this guy is actually going down to Portugal. Don't know, it looks like he's 100. He's basically flying the same flight level. Might preempt that, to be honest. To be fair, he should be out of my way the time we get anywhere near. So we'll see what happens. I'm really hoping the sim doesn't crash, but it seems very stuttery. he's just out of the way now. So he's about 10 miles in front of us anyway, so. There we go, he's clear of us. That other aircraft's actually changed, the one that's behind has actually changed track a little bit, but I'm going to stay at the sort of same altitude that we're at anyway. I don't know why the sound's a lot more stuttery today than normal. I don't think it's anything to do with the PC, I think it's to do with the sim, if anything, to be honest. I think also we need to consider this has still not been optimised properly for this sim. So it could be an issue with the Fenix itself. However, considering it hasn't been optimised, it runs very well. I think the wings will fall off if we go supersonic. To be fair, I do have crash detection turned on as well, so if we did get excessive G-forces and things, it will have an effect on the plane. Which becomes quite interesting when you have issues with scenery, like I had the other day when the scenery had a big issue with it, and basically had to drive over the dual carriageway to get to the stands. See what's going on in the back here? Not much really. I would say I'd walk down the cabin, but the problem, I've had it happen before where the autopilot disconnects when I've started walking down the cabin, so I'm not going to do that today. Like I say, 149 miles. Yeah, definitely, they're definitely a civilised bunch. I agree with you completely. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing what the Fenix have got to offer. I think it'll be quite interesting to see what they're going to have to offer for us. They always put some little Easter eggs as well, like there's always things that basically you don't really know about. Obviously most of it you can find out from the changelog, obviously that's not been published yet, but it looks like they'll be changing a lot of things. And that's the thing that with the Fenix, you kind of lose a bit of faith in a way, because you don't hear anything for about 6 to 8 months, and then all of a sudden, like it's the first post we've had since New Year, unfortunately, and I think sometimes you need a bit more confidence that they're actually doing stuff in the background, but I think that's half of what they like. They enjoy teasing and not hearing anything from it, and then basically doing a massive update in one go, and it's a really good way of working, because that way they're not under-promising things. If anything, they always they under-promise and then over-deliver, from my experience with them. So we're not too far away now. Just wondering if it's the navigation display that's upsetting it a little bit. Yeah, they're all working in the background. I don't know where Fenix are based. I thought they were based in Ukraine, but I could be wrong. Obviously, they do have a lot of developers that will probably work from home, I would imagine. Oh no, they're based in the UK. Tell a lie. I thought they were based overseas somewhere, if I'm honest. I know they've certainly had issues with the war within Ukraine. I know that's affected some of their earlier performances and impacted some of their releases. So whether they have some of their developers over there, I don't know. It's quite possible. So guys, I'm just going to the toilet a minute, just before we start our descent in about 30 miles, and then hopefully we'll get a lot more scenic. So I'll be back in a moment. So then we're back with you. So the problem, I end up drinking loads when I'm screaming, just because I'm talking so much, and then before I know it, I need the toilet. So, like I say, we're just about to start our descent. So initial descent is to 32,000. So I can just go manage, to be fair. We're going manage now. We're just going to go manage speed as well. So obviously we'll start exceeding the speed limits. So this is just calculating. Now that blue line is the predicted line of when we will be at there. And that's the actual line of that it's already calculated. So like I say, hopefully we'll be down a little bit quicker. Just need to be a little bit careful to make sure we're out of the way of this other aircraft as well. We'll go back on terrain radar in a minute as well. Once we get a little bit lower. It says only 111 miles. We'll pop the seatbelt signs on at probably at about 20,000 feet. Normally it's about 13 to 14,000 feet, but I think because of the elevation and it's going to be quite a steep approach, we'll get them all secured nice and early. Not had as many people in the stream as I thought we would have today. We've had 3 at some points, which is an improvement on the other day. Did a flight the other day and there was 0, but it's nice for you to follow us, Gareth. I'm quite enjoying teaching you little things actually. It makes me think a little bit as well. I think a lot of the time that's the problem with making content. I oversee a lot of things that maybe people have a lot of barriers to, which then gives me opportunities to make content for it really. Like you get that used to doing things, you just forget of what it's like. Hopefully we'll get to a point where obviously this stream, this channel has only been going for about 3 or 4 weeks. But I seem to be getting more and more subscribers every day. When I look on, there is at least another 1 or 2, and it does steadily increase. So I'm hoping that all it takes is one video that's not very popular to basically hit the views. Like I've got one video that's been really popular, which is on the Wing MCDU installation. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was the MCDU one, and literally I've had like 1.2k views on it. And then some videos 30, so it just depends, to be honest. I really want to call this waypoint bathtub. I don't know why. Certainly not. So after bathtub, 20,000 is the next sort of planned one. So we'll pop that in. So once we get to there, then we'll pop the seatbelt signs on and get the cabin secure. Oh, I'm pleased it's not me just thinking it looks like bathtub. I thought it was just me. Just gonna have a quick look, see what these other planes are doing, if they are also going into Innsbruck. That's the bonus of using Navigraph as well. You can see what aircrafts are about without really having to do much investigation into it at all. So there's this one here. It's in front of me a little bit. It doesn't actually say where he's going. Sometimes it doesn't always tell you where they're going, but to be fair, if you go into lights on here, I can airport networks. So there's a few arrivals. So yeah, there's one arriving at the moment. So yeah, that'll be okay. Apologies about the sound quality, it's not been the best today, and I'm not too sure why that is. I think, like I say, it could be an A321 thing. I don't know. I don't know how bad. Are you hearing the stutters that I'm hearing, Gareth, or is it not too bad? Occasionally you just get the odd stutter of sound, but it doesn't seem to be a sim stutter. It seems to be just the sound. Yeah, it's only for a split second. It's just a little bit annoying, especially I think because I've got my headset on and it's really loud anyway. It certainly does make a bit of a difference. Yeah, I kept thinking, was it my headset, but it's definitely not. The cable's not moved an inch, so. The problem with this approach, I find that it all happens quite quickly. So we'll just refresh ourselves over the charts again. Now I've got the right chart. No, that's not the right chart. I shall get us the right chart. So it's pretty much the same as like what we said before, 13,000 feet, and then it's a fairly steady descent down, to be honest. Like I say, it would be a nice visual approach. It's just the terrain that's the issue, and obviously if anything goes wrong we'll go up to the Rattenberg NDB and see what we do from there. Yeah, it's certainly a lot brighter in the clouds than it has been the last few days. The last few streams have all been night time, so it's quite nice to do a daytime one. Hopefully after next week I will be able to do more frequent streams. The only downside to that is I will be back at work properly. So I've got some exams coming up in a week on Monday. For most of that week, so there probably won't be much content for most of that week, but after then we should be having things every other day. Like I say, it just depends with work. I do shifts, so it varies. I'm pretty sure. The good thing in a way of doing shifts is I can do flights at strange times of the day as well, so it's not all bad. We'll definitely get quite a bit of content out this week. So it's certainly getting a bit more cloudy. It'd be really nice if ATC came online right now, to be fair. I'd quite enjoy that, but unfortunately today's not the day. There was some ATC the other day at Innsbruck. I think it's quite few and far between. I think because it's quite a complicated airport, a lot of the controllers don't. I think they find it quite stressful operating it. So yeah, they are 12-hour shifts, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely. I would definitely do some recordings because I tend to do things at silly o'clock anyway. Just depends how my sleep pattern is at the time. So yeah, we'll definitely do some recordings as well. Yeah, they're mostly 12 hours. I do the odd 10-hour shift occasionally, but yeah, mostly 12 hours, which is a better thing actually because it means I work less days. I literally probably do 3 to 4 shifts a week rather than 5 to 6 or 5 shifts a week. So it does make quite a difference. I don't know if you can see in the distance, we've just got the Alps coming into view. Obviously it's quite bright. From what I can see on here, but yeah, we've just got the Alps coming into view now. So ideally we need to be at 30,000 by the time we get up here to the Elmham NDB, so we've got quite a way to go. Well, it's not actually that far now, in fairness. So we need to be at flight 130. we can compute that and just manage that. And hopefully that'll then work out what sort of rate of descent we need. We'll reduce the speed back quite quickly as we start landing. Yeah, it's not a bad view to be fair, is it? No, if that's a little bit better for you. Just keeping an eye out whereabouts. So just going to bring that back a touch. So we're just going to go into manual BS mode, 1900 feet. The only problem is now we're having quite an increase in our speed. Like I say, it's quite hard to control the speed. So what we'll probably do is we'll probably use some spoilers actually. It could also be the engines have just spooled up to support that. No, we're going to exceed. So we're just going to put quarter spoilers out just to try and hold that speed a touch. The only downside to that might make it a little bit more turbulent. Needs to be. So we're going to put the seatbelt signs on. That's one last thing to do. Just going to double check there's definitely no ATC, which there's not. You can see we're getting buffeted a little bit by the winds now. That could also be because of the speed that we're controlling with. Yeah, they are long days, but they go quite quickly in fairness. Because I'm always out and about, the days do go really quick. Like I say, you can probably expect there's going to be a lot of terrain alarms as we get a little bit closer. Especially as we take over manual control.
Your mobile phones, but they switch off automatically and enlarge your boxes.
When you're ready, fasten your seatbelt tight and go around your waist. Hold the wheel straight over your cup holder.
So I'm going to reduce speed back now to 250 knots. We'll just start slowly bringing that speed down a touch. You can probably use the spoilers actually just to bring that speed back a bit. Just adjusted that slightly. I don't know if you noticed the map jump a little bit. Yeah, we just need to be a bit cautious now about terrain around us. Obviously we're not a million miles from the top of it. So we're now making that left turn now to Elm. Then the next sort of descent point is going to be 8,300. So we're going to change onto a managed mode. I'm also going to bring the speed back now to around 220 knots, just to... You probably should be flying a little bit quicker, but I like to just make sure we've got good control over the plane. Just on the speed brake, so that's one less thing to do. So it's not long till we're going into cloud and not having much of a visual. So we can actually reduce, try and hit the target where we're at. So we'll hit the target at 1,500. So we just changed the VS to minus 1,500 just to try and make sure we don't exceed that point, because I know for a fact there's definitely a lot of terrain around. We need to try and bring this speed back a touch in a second, which hopefully we'll be able to do, because we're going to be descending at much, well, not quite as sharp as we've been descending. It seems to be naturally coming down, to be fair. Because we're going over the tops of the mountains, we are getting a few buckets of wind. I don't know if you notice the nose does sometimes pitch up a little bit. So what level do we change the QNH? So we change the QNH when we're at our transition level. So typically the Fenix will calculate that itself. When you do your... I'm trying to think now where it appears. I'm sure it appears in your approach. Maybe it doesn't. No. Bear with me, let me have a think where it appears. But basically we changed the transition level. At this airport it's 10,500 feet. To be fair, I think it's what was preset. So I just didn't change it. I think it was preset. But obviously if there was ATC online on the ATIS, it would give you the transition level. So yeah, it's 1013 is the weather currently. Just double check the weather as well. I'll do it quickly on Navigraph rather than messing about. Yeah, QNH 1013, no significant changes, so that's wonderful. So we need to try and bring this speed back a touch. So I'm going to bring the spoilers back out again. So now at 13,000 feet. We can now bring that to 8,300. A much steadier approach, so just working out. So what we'll do is we will just go into the performance page and just double check that, make sure it doesn't say activate approach on that side. Generally you can normally tell because it appears here. So we're going to pop the landing lights on. We're going to bring flaps 1 out just to try and control our speed a little. You'll probably notice a big change now. The speed's going to have to come right back shortly in about 10 miles. So Innsbruck traffic, Janex 97 inbound, runway 08, currently 26 track miles. So obviously we want to try and bring this speed back as much as possible. We can still use a bit of spoilers to be fair to try and control that speed further. Oh, we're just getting a nice visual now. So you see now it's flashing saying the standard option. So that means we need to go into manage mode. So 1013 is the current. So landing lights can come on. We're approaching 10,000. So we'll have another descent. It's basically 2,000 feet, which is where we need to. There we go. Hopefully we'll get a bit more of a scenic view in a second. You can see some of the terrain coming in on the side. It's telling me off because the speed brake's still out. We can actually put some flaps 2 out, which is where we'll stay now until we reduce that speed right back. Typically after flaps 2 we'll then put the landing gear down. Obviously we'll until we're visual with the runway, then obviously we'll disconnect and fly manually. Yeah, it's quite easily done to be fair, Gareth. I've done it many a time. So we're going to bring that speed back now, 175. We've got 5 miles to achieve that. We'll see how it performs on its own. It may be that we need to do some manual flying. Some manual. So it's detecting ice, so it wants our anti-ice on. So approach checklist. Bar is 1013. Seatbelts on. Minimum set. Well, minimum was set actually, but it seems to not be there now. It was 2,900. So minimum 2,900. Auto brake medium and engine mode selector is normal. I don't know if we can quite get that picture in there yet, but. So we'll rearm that so we're in a position to land. Just have a quick look now. It tends to be as we come over to this right hand side of the mountains that we actually get the terrain warnings, but we'll see how we go. We stay at 175 knots for now. And obviously. Yeah, it is a very, very scenic approach. You wait till we start going over Innsbruck, it gets a little bit better as well. This river pretty much
terrain ahead. Pull
goes across
up.
the end of the runway. So, as we know, it's going to start giving us some terrain warnings.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
I think it'll be less than 10 minutes to London, but there we go. So obviously you can see the extended centre line there that's appearing off to the right, and we'll see the airport just sneak into view in a moment. See it's wobbling a little bit, we've got a little bit of a crosswind. Like I say, I like to try and keep it nice and straight if we can. So the airport's going to get down. I'm going to bring speed down to about 165 knots. And once the gears are unlocked, we'll then pop flaps 3 out. And obviously we'll activate the landing system as well. So gear down 3 green, flaps 3. So we'll hear them engines spool up a little bit now. So manual flights. As you can see, we're a little bit low, so I'm just going to pull the nose back a touch. I'm going to pretty much fly straight on the
2,000.
You just need to kind of skim this. So flaps full. I bring the speed back now 160 knots. Innsbruck traffic, channel X97, short finals runway 08. Then if you can just see the airport in sight. So we go back to our minimum approach speed. So we'll just start bringing the nose down a touch. So landing checklists, go around altitude is now set at 7,900.
Terrain ahead.
Cabin crew
Pull
advised.
up.
Eco memo landing no blue. So we'll just
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So obviously we
terrain
got the,
ahead.
Got the runway in
Pull
sight.
up.
We got 2
terrain
red, 2
ahead.
green.
Pull up.
So it's showing at the minute that I'm a little bit to one side, but I can soon address that. So we're a little bit low. Oh, it's gone very snowy all of a sudden. So we'll just bring the nose round to the left and bring it down a little bit as well.
100 above.
So not going to be much talking for a minute, guys. me a lot of concentration.
Minima.
Continue. So slightly need to be nose left a touch. Just bring that nose down further. We're a little bit high, so we'll just bring that nose down.
500.
Watch the crane that's on the left.
400.
So a little bit high again, just bring that nose down a touch.
300.
So we've got the touchdown zone in sight, obviously.
200.
Light slow. Light
100.
slow. Light slow.
Don't know what's going on with the
40,
runway.
30, 20, retard. 5.
Don't sink.
7, 5.
Go around. Rotate. So we didn't seem to have a lot of runway left, which is the reason why I've gone around, to be fair. Go up. So apologies guys, I thought that was going to be a banging approach. It just seemed to bring the nose up a little too much. So we'll climb straight ahead to 7,900. Don't know quite what happened there, but it just seemed to float a lot, and I think I probably flared a little bit too early. Flaps 1. Innsbruck traffic, channel 97 going around to 08. Probably should have said that a little bit earlier. So, first climb. Flap 0. Let's just shut up all that noise. Now, so it's not in climb then. First climb check. What we'll do, we'll just fly back up to the Rattenberg NDB. I'm going to go back to the autopilot because we can't see what's going on. Yeah, I must admit, yeah, there was something going on with that scenery, wasn't there? I'm not quite sure what was going on there. I've not seen that happen before. I don't know if it's because of the rain of why it was looking like that, because I don't know if you noticed, it seemed to rain all of a sudden. So apologies guys, I didn't mean to have a go around in there, but it seemed like a really nice stable approach in fairness as well. So we're going to bring the speed back now to 220 knots. What we're going to try and do is we're going to try and route back to Elm probably, I guess. Or somewhere. We might stay down in the valley actually and route ourselves back round to the right hand side. I'm just going to climb to a safe altitude though for the minute. They did say there was a chance of rain, a bit of a rainbow there as well. Yeah, that is the thing, that is the biggest downfall with the sim. Because everything's streamed now, things do just appear. And generally speaking, it's normally pretty good, but clearly, I don't know whether it's maybe because I'm streaming as well, that may have an impact. Fairly good internet connection here though, about 200 or 300 megabytes a second. So we're just approaching Rattenberg. What we could probably do is probably make a turn back. Just having a quick look at this other aircraft that seems to be on their way somewhere. But I don't know where they're going. I don't know if they're coming to Innsbruck or not. If they're not, just having a look. And then we can come back down the valley again. So, I may do that now actually. I'm going to make a right turn. Around 120 degrees or 130 degrees. And obviously we'll just keep an eye on that terrain as well. Obviously, normally the controller would give you further instructions.
Terrain ahead.
Terrain
Pull
ahead.
up.
We're clear of the terrain at the moment.
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Like I say, we shouldn't have any major problems in so we're going to go roughly 250. That'll fly us back down the valley again. We'll just keep tight to this side of the cliff. So I've also reduced the speed back a touch, so it just gives us a bit more control. So in that case we need to put a couple of stages of flaps out. Must be, I've not done many go around, so it didn't seem right to continue really. It just didn't seem very stable. I don't know if you notice it's rocking a lot at the minute as well. I think it's because we've got a bit of a crosswind. So we'll have a quick look at the airports. The airport's, as you can see, just to 12 o'clock on the radar. So what we'll do is we'll fly past it. And then we'll go from there. So let's start our descent now. So I may fly some of this manually. Either way, at least you get to see a little bit of more scenery. The only thing I'm concerned about is if maybe the scenery is not the add-on scenery for some reason, and I don't know why that would be, but so we're going to stick tight to this left side, so we're going to probably stick to 250.
2,500.
Okay, we'll just stick to the left hand side. The airport is over there that we've got a good visual of. Like I say, the snow seems very intermittent as well, doesn't it? Innsbruck traffic, channel X97 is vectoring for visual approach runway 08, following a go around. Channel X97 is tracking south of the fields, intercepted at Whiskey India 753 for runway 08. So
2,000.
We'll see, I've got 4,000 in here at the minute.
Terrain ahead.
Gonna fly manually now we've got a visual again.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
It's gonna panic thinking about the terrain. Obviously we're gonna come down to the right hand side of that terrain. Key is sticking quite close to the side though, because that gives you a better turning circle. Yeah, so I suppose it's good practice for a go around. It's probably not the textbook go around if I'm honest. I'm pretty sure there's probably more procedures than that. We don't seem to be maintaining our speed very well either at the moment. I don't know if you've noticed we're I don't know why, but our speed seems to be dropping down crazily. We may go. Can I just go manual throttle for a minute? because I'm a bit concerned about that speed dropping off too much. So right, let's bring ourselves out towards this area here. And we'll spin ourselves back round. There we go. So we'll go back with auto throttle. Just going to pop it back in the right position.
Flight 001, we're going to short by the runway 26.
So we're going to bring the speed back anyway to 160 knots, but just clear that. Nothing more annoying than an alarm. So, like I say, we're going to fly close as we can to this corner. We are still climbing at the moment, so we need to just be a little bit cautious of that. So for those of you that are just joining us, we've performed a go around. One, because the scenery hadn't loaded properly, and two, because we seemed to flare too early. I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know what's going on with this speed here, but it's certainly...
Speed.
Might fly the...
Speed.
Just gonna
terrain ahead.
Just going to try and maintain around 160 knots.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Could be we just got a bit in that sort of
terrain
patch of wind.
ahead. Pull up.
So we're going to stick tight to here.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Ideally we want to be descending, not climbing, but we'll see how we go.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
I want to brake back to medium.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Make sure we fly far enough out.
Terrain ahead.
Of
Pull
the airport.
up.
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Yeah, it's really hard
terrain
to manage the
ahead.
speed. I'm not sure
Pull
why
up.
it's not managing the speed. I'm going to guess it's maybe we're near to a wind shear
terrain
sort of
ahead.
situation.
Pull up.
And obviously we're
terrain
flying next
ahead.
to mountains, so we've got.
Pull up.
If you look now, we've currently got
Terrain ahead.
50
Pull
odd knot
up.
headwind, so which is not ideal.
Terrain ahead.
So I'm going to fly
Terrain
a little
ahead.
bit closer.
Terrain ahead.
And then we're going to make in this big open
Terrain
patch here.
ahead.
We'll
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
apologies about the terrain warnings.
Terrain
it's very annoying.
ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Flying properly manually. I must admit I don't fly the 320, especially speed manually, very often. So got a bit of practice here. So we're now going to 4,700.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So I don't know.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So we're gonna
terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Let's make sure the speed brakes arms.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Let's make this right turn.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Innsbruck
Terrain
traffic.
ahead.
Channel
Pull
97. Vectoring again for runway 08 visual approach.
Terrain ahead. Pull
5
up.
track miles.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So bring us
Terrain
speed
ahead.
right back.
Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So we're just at idle at the moment.
Traffic, my flight 001 for my final.
Terrain ahead.
Terrain
Pull up.
ahead.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead.
Pretty sure
Pull
there's another.
up.
There's traffic in front of me there.
Terrain ahead. pull
Innsbruck
up.
traffic, just to advise, runway 26 is not in use, runway 08 is in use.
Terrain ahead.
That's ideal
pull
then.
Up. Terrain
So
ahead. Pull up. Terrain
We
ahead.
could have another
pull
issue
up.
with an aircraft that's...
Let's copy, thank you.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So we've got another
Terrain
aircraft
ahead.
that's just
Pull
going
up.
on runway 26, which is obviously the opposite end to where we are.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
It's very annoying, this, isn't it?
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So we're pretty much flying the same approach again.
Terrain ahead.
Try and stay at
Pull
160
up.
knots. I'm a bit concerned that guy's going to continue
Terrain ahead.
on the glide path.
Pull up.
Innsbruck traffic, Channel 97 is 4 miles for runway 08. We're a little bit more than 4 miles, but I'm just going to make him try and either go around and abort his lone landing, or he shouldn't be landing on that runway anyway, to be fair. So, obviously we're a little bit lower than we would normally be. Just because of the go around and also because of the speed issue, so it seems a lot safer flying manually currently. So our approach speed needs to be 140 knots. So we'll set 140 just to give us a bit of a visual representation, which is pretty much where we're at now, is at our approach speed. We have flaps full, we have gear down.
Ahead.
So it's giving me
Terrain
a warning for that
ahead.
terrain there, but I've got the runway in sight.
Terrain ahead.
So I think
Terrain ahead.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
Wonderful, thank you. So that chap has vacated
Terrain
the runway
ahead.
already.
Pull up.
So he clearly didn't listen to what I said.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
As far as I know, runway 08's in use still. That's what Navigraph's still telling me.
Terrain
So
ahead. Pull up.
there's no one else approaching from that side. Right then. We got speed back now. I'm going to start this left-hand turn onto the finals.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
We're not sinking.
Don't sink. Don't
So-
sink.
I'm just going to disarm the flight directors
Don't
as well.
sink.
We're just going to fly this fully manually.
Don't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink.
So we're going to bring our speed back now.
Don't sink.
Then just add a little bit of speed if we need it. So a
Don't
little bit
sink.
high. Looks
Don't
like
sink.
no, it's doing the same again with the.
Don't sink.
Can't work out if it's snowing or not snowing. It's still
Don't
thinking
sink.
about it. However, the runway does appear
Don't
slightly
sink.
clearer.
Don't sink.
So we just need to be careful of our speed.
Don't sink.
And there's the crane.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
So I feel like
Don't
I'm in a
sink.
slight nose right position, but
Don't sink.
so a little bit high again.
Don't sink.
I think we're going to go for a full stop
Don't
this time
sink.
either way. So
Tank rate.
Don't sink.
you see that little marker on
Don't
the PFD?
sink.
That's what I was referring to earlier.
Don't sink.
40, 30, 20, retard.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
Spoilers. Reverse green. Brake medium, decel. Manual braking. There we go, we're fine. We've got plenty of speed here. So landing lights off, taxi lights on, flaps retracts, and spoilers retract. And we'll start the APU as well. Innsbruck traffic, Channel 97 vacating, runway 08.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're sure you can't wait to enjoy your holidays, but for now, you must stay seated and buckled up.
You're not allowed to smoke or vape. Wait to the terminal. or
So
in the
we're on to
terminal
Bravo,
itself. And
and
before
then
you go,
we'll just
please
go
make
into
sure
one
you
of the
have everything with
stands.
you. Take care when you open the overhead lockers.
So after landing checklist, radar, click the wind system
Our
is
friendly team
off.
will be happy to help you in the terminal. If you
we'll
can't
just
miss them,
proceed.
they're wearing our famous red U-hold. And of course, a big welcoming smile.
Thanks for flying with us today, and from all of us, have a
Go with
lovely
stand
holiday.
5 and we'll get a follow me request as well. Just because I'm not sure which one stand 5 is, and they're not very well marked here, to be honest. So we'll just see whereabouts. There we go. So I'm not actually too sure which stand it is, to be fair, but we'll let the follow me car decide where we're off to. It should be the stand just next to me. So it wasn't too bad a landing, considering it was fully manual speed and everything. I didn't think it was too bad, to be honest. So then it looks like we are going to stand just the other side of this other aircraft. Please don't tell me it's the same stand I've picked. Okay, we're not going to that stand then. That's where that other aircraft's just coming out. And obviously the other stand that I've gone to, so it's actually the other one we want. My bad peeps, my bad. So we want stand 4 then, is what we want. There we go, right. That's the only problem, you never know which stands are occupied. So we'll just make this left turn. So there's not any lines at this airport for some reason. I don't know whether there is in real life or whether they just swing it. I'm not quite sure how they do it. I'd imagine there will be lines though. So we'll just try and swing the nose around a touch. Just going to try and get the centre of the aircraft in the right place. Parking brake is set. APU is on, so engine 2 and engine 1 can come off. Just wait for that to spool down a touch. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying about the other. So taxi light and beacon can come off.
This parking is isolated. Ground services are not available.
That's no good. I'm sure we can make ground services available. If not, we'll do it the old-fashioned way.
This parking is isolated. Ground services are not available. This parking is isolated. Ground services are not available.
That's alright, don't worry. Right, what we'll do is we'll use the Fenix then. Could be because we're not on a proper gate. So connecting external power and the APU can come off. And obviously the seatbelt signs can come off as well. So parking checklist, parking brake or chocks, parking brake is set, engines off, fuel pumps off, and yellow hydraulic pump is also off. That's the parking checklist is complete. So guys, thanks for joining us, both of you. I'm not too sure who the second person is that's joining us, but there we go. So thanks for joining us. We're just waiting for people to disembark, which they will do in a second, and then we shall get on our way. Just meant to see. Oh, hello. We're not meant to have them doors open. That could be why the issue is. Did enable stairs as well, but I don't know what crack is with them.
This parking is isolated. Ground service.
What we'll do, we'll just try and see if there we go. We've got our own stairs in place now. APU and everything is off, and we are
This
on
parking
the.
is isolated. Ground services are not available.
Oh well, it's having a bit of a paddy. Anyway, Pete, thanks for joining us. Didn't realise that we've got. Just double checking we've got the right doors open. Thanks for joining us on this flight, and we will see you in another video. Apologies, it wasn't the best of approaches initially. I don't know whether it could be internet based, it could be numerous things with the sim at the moment. There's that many updates going about. I'm seeing the odd bug here and there. Wasn't a bad second landing though. It may be a little bit hard, but I don't think it's too bad considering the fact in a 321 we were flying it completely manually, even down to the speed reduction was all flown manually, and also everything else was done all manually. So I don't think it was too bad considering. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next live stream.